Welcome once again to Let's Talk Marriage. This is Pastor Larry coming to you this Wednesday afternoon with Let's Talk Marriage. All right. We're going to get right on in our program today. I hope everyone is doing well. If you woke up this morning, you got to be doing well. We're going to get right on into our program today. On our program today, we're going to be talking about or putting a question for the married couples. And the question is, how did you know when you met your soulmate? Or how did you know when you met the person you met was your soulmate? Well, we've been talking about that or mentioned it several times on the program about having a soulmate or being with a soulmate or waiting for a soulmate. Sometimes it might take you one or two tries to get to your soulmate, and a lot of times it takes a while because sometimes when you meet someone will tell you right away whether it's your soulmate or not, or whether it be a grandmother or mother or father, whatever. They might tell you when you meet someone or bring them home. That's why it's important, and we've mentioned on the program a lot of times. That's why it's important that you bring the person home to meet your parents and even meet your relatives, and because everyone have a opinion. Sometimes you can listen to it, but most of the times you can't, especially if they've been a wise person, or if you have grandparents or parents that's been married for a long time. They'll know right away. Usually they'll know right away whether that person is right for you. And sometimes even the Lord will tell you if that person will let you know if that person is right for you. And then when you bring them around other people, it's usually a confirmation that that person is right for you. Because there's so many people that get into relationships for the wrong reason. And you want to make sure we get into relationships for the right reason. And that's why there's so many marriages that are not lasting, or there's no longevity in a lot of marriages. But on the program, we're here to help each and every one of you, and just give you ideals and things to pray about, things to talk about, things to discuss within your marriage. And also for couples that are contemplating on getting married. We're here for you, and those that need ideals or guidance on what to look for in a soulmate. We're going to be having that on one of our programs in the future about what to look for. If you're believing that that person's your soulmate and you're not sure, but deep down inside you feel that that person is your soulmate, because it's so important that you be with your soulmate. In natural terms and scientific terms, what they might call this chemistry with that person. You have to have chemistry with that person, and you're gonna not always have everything in common, but you're going to have some things in common. And the old saying is so true, that opposites attract each other. Because, if you have one person that's real outgoing or real, and then they might meet a person that's not so outgoing. They're outgoing, and, when they know people, they come out. But they're, very cautious when they meet people. And you with another person, you want to level that out. That's where opposites attract. You might have one person that's a saver and the other person's a spender. You don't want to be with both of you are spenders. You'll never have anything. You want to make sure that's where the opposite come in. One might be a saver and the other one might be a spender. One might be good with numbers, the other one might not. That might not be that good with numbers. So that's where the opposites attract come in at. But you should have a lot of things in common with that person. in order for the chemistry. Because when you put something together, for instance, if you're making a soup and you put all the ingredients in it, they're all different ingredients, but the outcome is the one soup. So that's how a marriage is. You have so many different things coming together in a marriage, or bringing so many different things to the table in order to have a successful marriage. And when we say successful marriage on the program, we're not talking about a perfect marriage, because there's no such thing as a perfect marriage. If you're waiting for a perfect mate, oh, I'm looking for the perfect man. Oh, you're going to be waiting a while. And if you fellas are waiting for the perfect woman, you're going to be waiting a while too, because there's no such thing as a perfect woman. But you strive, you work together to get there. You set goals in life to have things in life, and both of you can't be at home. Both of you can't send one out to work and the other one don't help out or bring nothing to the table. You have to bring something to the table, and a lot of fellows feel belittled, or they feel little when if the spouse makes more than they do. But a lot of times in this day and age, a lot of times the spouse might, in a lot of instances, will make more than the husband, because for one thing, a lot of times the spouse has in some cases have more education, or went further in college, or have more than one degree or something like that. Of course they're going to make more than you if you only have one type of degree. So there's nothing to be to there's nothing to be challenging each other on, or competing with each other on. Everything comes together and work together as one. That's another reason how, another way you find out that that person is your soulmate. And we talked about it so many times on the program, where we mentioned your soulmate. We told you what to look for, because sometimes when you meet someone that's your soulmate, you might not think that that person is right for you until something might click in you, because you're used to something else, and then something, all of a sudden you get this person that's that's awesome, and you realize that, wow, he was there all along. And sometimes it takes us more than one try to find your soulmate, because most of the times when you meet someone, they either have children already, or they've been married already. And usually, if they've been married already, the whole ideal is to learn from, because learn from what went wrong in the first marriage. And a lot of times it's you have to close those. We mentioned this on the program as well. Those chapters have to be closed, because you don't want to be looking for the same thing you saw in your previous relationship. You don't want to bring it over into your new relationship, because then you might have, in your second relationship, you might very well be with your soulmate, and you might ruin it, or hinder progress in the relationship, because you're still in the last relationship. So you want to make sure those chapters are all closed, and have closure from those chapters. And a lot of times we hold grudges against the ex and all that, and bringing it, I went through that. So, but you want to make sure that we move forward, in order, because that way you'll realize, and you'll cherish having a soulmate. So how did you meet your soulmate? What were you doing when you met your soulmate? Did you know right away if that was your soulmate, or did you realize later on that that was your soulmate, or was it something they said that said, wow, this person is awesome. Wow, awesome. And this is the one for me. When did you think that when you met? And now those of you that know my wife and I, they know the story how we met, and how I knew right away when I met her that she was my soulmate. Because first of all, when I met her, I just got out of a relationship, and I still had to close those chapters, and sometimes it takes a while, but you work on yourself first. You give yourself opportunity to work on yourself. That way you can get those chapters closed. But when I first met my wife, I knew right away she was my soulmate. And I even told her. She thought I was crazy, but that was 35 years ago. So, but I knew right away, and everyone that knows us knows our story. But when you meet someone, you know that you realize that that person is your soulmate. There's several things that you're gonna notice about that person. First of all, they'll do anything for you without hesitation, whether it be financial or just simply just being there for you and having your back. That's how you know that they're your soulmate. So how did you know when you met your soulmate? How did you know? Did you know right away, or did it come later? So that's the question we're putting for you today: is how did you know it was your soulmate when you met them? And a lot of times when we meet people, is either through someone else or just just met him. Out of you never seen him before or anything like that. Because when I met my wife, I had never formally met her, but I had seen her before. And I saw where she worked, and because I would be in the mall, and then everybody knows the story. She worked at the mall, and I met her coming out of the mall, and and I knew right away when I first saw her at the store that she worked at. She worked at a store in the mall, and you know how they have the opening there, and sometimes they have the cashier right by the door. This was years ago, so the malls have changed now. But I would pass by, and I knew right away that that was going to be my soulmate, and so I made a point of introducing myself. So, and that was 35 years ago, and and it's been so wonderful. We celebrated our 35th wedding anniversary this April, and we celebrated Mother's Day this past weekend. And by the way, I forgot to mention that on the last program, Mother's Day. I hope everyone had a great Mother's Day, and we're looking forward to Father's Day. But make sure that for your soulmates that you are working with them. And as far as working with them, and we mentioned on the program again, if your soulmate is attending church, make sure that you attend church with them. And if you say, "Oh, I'm not a church person," but that's your soulmate, go to church with them. Just go to church, and if you don't go all the time, just surprise them, just show up. They'll love you for it, and they'll thank you for it. But just show up at church, and just take them out to dinner. And we always said on the program that Sunday is, as well as God's day, it is a family day as well. Use that opportunity to know your in-laws and things like that. So that's why you had to make sure your family meet the person that you know that's your soulmate. Let them meet him. They'll tell you. There'll be confirmation that, oh, that's the one for you. Because when I met my wife, and I took her to my church for the first. This was the church that by the way, that I had grew up in. I came up in that church as a kid, so everybody knew, me and my family and things like that. And when I took her to church, right away the bishop's wife knew right away and said, "That's the one for you." But I had already knew it, so it was just a confirmation. And the same thing with my bishop at the time. He told me the same thing. "Yeah, that's the one for you." And when my mother met her, my mother said the same thing. And my mother was very protective of her sons, so she knew right away, and and the relationship and everything grew because it was it's my soulmate, and it's wonderful, when you meet your soulmate. See, It's wonderful when you meet your soulmate. So make sure that we are working together, and you meet that soulmate. Make sure your family meet them. Take them around everywhere. Make sure, most of all, make sure you take them to church. Because if you go to church and you know that they don't go, when you go the first time, let them know that, oh, I prefer that you go to church with me, and then that'll set the uh, bar, at a certain level, and you already have your standards out there that I go to church and I expect whoever I'm with to go to church with me as well. This is Pastor Larry. We're going to be signing off this Wednesday afternoon with Let's Talk Marriage. And how did you meet your soulmate? And how did you know it was your soulmate? Until we meet again with Let's Talk Marriage. All right.